Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're so glad you're joining us today. We're diving into another, fascinating topic, and frankly, one that's often misunderstood. It feels like every day there's some new technology just exploding, pushing boundaries, promising amazing things. And blockchain, wow, it's seen truly exponential growth, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Right. Finance, digital art, supply chains, gaming, you name it. But, with all that speed, all that innovation, there's this flip side. Security. It often doesn't get the same spotlight, does it?
Not nearly enough.
We hear so much about how secure blockchain is, the immutable ledger, practically unhackable. But is that really the whole picture? Is it truly impenetrable, or does it have maybe its own Achilles heel?
Well, that's exactly it. It's crucial we peel back those layers, understand the nuances, because while blockchain does promise a new kind of security, decentralization, its growing adoption, and honestly, the huge amount of financial value locked in these systems now, well, that naturally brings more security challenges, serious ones.
Makes sense. More value, more targets.
Precisely. The allure of big money means, malicious actors, lone hackers, organized groups, they're constantly poking and prodding these systems for weak spots. So understanding these vulnerabilities, it's not just for the tech folks, the cybersecurity pros, it's vital for anyone interacting with blockchain, investing in it, building on it, anyone.
Right. Knowing the risks is kind of the first step to protecting yourself.
It's your foundational first line of defense. Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Today, we're diving deep into blockchain security. Often misunderstood, as we said. You hear blockchain, you think secure, maybe unbreakable. But like any tech, it has vulnerabilities. Some unique, some surprisingly familiar. Our mission today, to arm you, the listener, with knowledge. The most common ways these systems get compromised, we're drawing from a pretty comprehensive look at blockchain security issues, and we're going to expand on that, get into the details, not just what they are, but really why they matter to you.
And what's fascinating, maybe a little scary, is that as the value locked in blockchain goes up, so does the incentive for attacks. Sophisticated attacks.
It's not just theory.
No, not at all. We've seen massive real-world losses. They really underscore why knowing this stuff is so important. So today we're looking at 10 distinct vulnerabilities, a mix of things. Some are highly technical network-level stuff happening in the shadows. Others, surprisingly simple human elements, often overlooked.
The human factor. Always a classic weak point.
Always. And each vulnerability presents its own challenge. Understanding why they matter, well, that's where you get those aha moments. You start to see where the risks really lie for you, whether you're, casually using a dApp or seriously investing, or just curious about how this tech actually works and where it can break.
So if you've ever wondered, how secure are my digital assets really? Or what do people mean when they talk about a crypto hack that wasn't directly on the blockchain? You are definitely in the right place.
Okay, 10 vulnerabilities, each with its own twist. Let's kick things off with something many of us probably recognize from, just being online, but with a blockchain twist that makes it, much more dangerous. Social engineering and deception attacks. All right, first category, targeting the human element, often the weakest link, right?
Almost always.
Specifically, let's talk phishing attacks.
Yeah.
We all know phishing, yeah. Those dodgy emails, texts.
Trying to trick you, yeah.
Trying to get your bank login, credit card number. Usual suspects. But here's where it gets really nasty with blockchain. Imagine someone getting direct access to your private wallet keys. It's not just your bank account info they're after, it's your actual digital signature, your proof of ownership.
It's the keys to the kingdom. Exactly. The source material calls it a scamming attempt to obtain the credentials of a user. Hackers pose as some authentic, authoritative source. Same old trick, fundamentally higher stakes.
Incredibly higher. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal with blockchain phishing is usually direct, irreversible access to your funds or total control over your assets.
Irreversible is the key word there, isn't it?
Absolutely critical. In the traditional world, right, your credit card gets phished, you call the bank, dispute charges, often get the money back. There are safety nets, centralized ones.
All right, you've got recourse.
But with blockchain, phishing targets your private keys. Yeah. And these keys, they aren't just passwords. They are your ownership on the chain, that cryptographic string that lets you sign transactions.
So if they get the key?
They are you, essentially. They can sign transactions, move all your funds to their wallet, poof.
And it's immediate?
Immediate, and crucially, irreversible. Once it's on that immutable ledger, there's no bank to call, no central authority to undo it.
Wow, okay, so vigilance is paramount.
It's everything. You have to be extremely cautious. Emails, texts, any message claiming to be from an exchange, a wallet provider, a platform. Double-check those URLs. Look for tiny misspellings. Hover over links before you even think about clicking.
Good advice. Go directly to the official site instead.
Always the safest bet. And use two-factor authentication, 2FA, wherever you possibly can, especially on exchanges.
Adds another layer.
It does. It's about protecting the core of your digital identity and wealth. Because in this space, like it or not, you really are your own bank. 2, network and infrastructure level attacks.
Okay, so moving beyond tricking the user directly, let's look at the network infrastructure itself, things happening kind of behind the scenes. The second vulnerability, routing attacks. What exactly is that?
Yeah, this one's interesting. It's not about hacking the blockchain code itself or a smart contract flaw. It's about intercepting data while it's traveling across the internet.
Okay.
The source mentions hackers intercepting data during the course of its transmission to internet service providers.
So like tapping the lines.
Kind of like that, yeah. Imagine someone diverting your physical mail before it even hits the post office, or just watching everything you send and receive.
And you wouldn't even know.
That's the really dangerous part. The source says the dangerous aspect lies in their anonymity, and unfortunately, blockchain users won't notice anything amiss.
That's unsettling. If you can't see it, how do you stop it?
Exactly. That's the critical question. How do you protect against something you don't even know is happening? The stealthy nature of these attacks makes them particularly insidious, especially in a decentralized network where you're relying on trust in data transmission.
So what could they do with intercepted data?
Well, imagine your transaction data, or even just the messages nodes use to sync up and agree on the ledger state. Imagine that being rerouted or watched. An attacker could gather intelligence, learn about who's doing what, transaction patterns.
Reconnaissance, basically, right?
Right? Or they could even try to subtly manipulate things, maybe mess with the timing or order of transactions if they control the data flow between certain nodes.
Like front-running a trade.
Potentially, yeah. There's something called a sandwich attack on decentralized exchanges. If they see your large buy order coming, they might quickly insert their own buy order just before yours, then a sell order right after, profiting from the price jump your trade causes.
Wow. All because they diverted the data for a split second?
Potentially. So while they might not be changing the blockchain ledger, they can use that intercepted data for other attacks or manipulate the network's operation in subtle ways. It operates at a layer sort of beneath the blockchain protocol, affects the internet infrastructure itself.
Making it super hard to detect for like the average user.
Extremely hard. Using a VPN, a virtual private network, can help. It encrypts your traffic, makes it harder to intercept. But it's a complex fight happening at multiple internet layers.
Okay, now for one that hits right at the core idea of decentralization, the 51% attack, this sounds serious. It feels like the very foundation of some public blockchains, especially proof-of-work ones.
Like Bitcoin, yeah.
Right. It feels like this attack turns that foundation on its head. It's a numbers game, right? Computing power.
Exactly.
The source says if a miner or a group of unethical miners gathered enough resources, they could seize more than 50% of the network's mining power. And that means what? Control.
It implies having control over the ledger and the ability to modify it. That's the quote.
Modify the ledger. That sounds bad, like fundamentally bad for a blockchain.
It is a fundamental threat, specifically to public decentralized blockchains using proof of work. That's the system where miners solve complex puzzles to validate transactions and add blocks. If you control over half the network's total computing power, the hash rate, you effectively control the consensus process.
So you decide what gets added to the chain.
Pretty much. And you can do some really destructive things. You can reverse your own transactions after they've been confirmed, which allows for double spending the same coins twice.
Ah, the classic double spend problem that blockchain was supposed to solve.
Exactly. They could also block new, legitimate transactions from getting confirmed. Basically, a denial of service attack, grinding the network to a halt.
That completely undermines the immutability promise.
Completely. Now, it's important to say, for a huge established chain like Bitcoin, pulling off a 51% attack is incredibly expensive.
Like prohibitively expensive.
Generally, yes. The cost to buy and run that much mining hardware would likely outweigh any potential gains from the attack. Makes it highly improbable.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring.
But for smaller public chains, newer ones with less distributed mining power, it's a very real threat.
Have we seen it happen?
Oh, yes. Several smaller chains, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Gold, others have been hit by 51% attacks in the past. resulting in significant financial losses.
Right. And the source mentioned private blockchains.
Good point. It specifically says 51% attacks are not possible on private blockchains.
What?
Because private blockchains are permissioned. They don't have that open mining competition. They usually have a known, limited set of validators controlled by specific entities. So you can't just amass hashing power to take over.
Got it. So it really challenges the trust model of public chains. Size matters, distribution matters.
Critically, chain size, how spread out the mining power is, the overall cost to attack, these are vital for security.
Okay, that makes sense. So 51% attacks are a major theoretical threat, especially for smaller chains. What about something different? Not brute force power, but like deception, fake identities. Next up, Sybil attacks. This one's fascinating. Not hacking code, but swamping the network with fake players. The source says it's named for the book that deals with multiple personality disorder. Apt name.
Very.
And the goal is to flood the target network with an overwhelming amount of false identities trying to crash the system. It's like, imagine a vote where one person gets 1,000 fake IDs and just overwhelms the ballot box.
That's a great analogy. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Sybil attacks hit the network's ability to maintain consensus or even just know who's a real participant. Decentralized networks, especially ones without strong ID checks, kind of assume each node or user is distinct, unique.
Right, one node, one vote, sort of.
Exactly. But a Sybil attacker creates a flood of fake nodes, fake identities, all controlled by them. They can use this flood to isolate legitimate nodes, make them think the fake nodes are the majority.
So they can influence decisions.
They can hijack decision-making, yeah. Or block legitimate transactions. Or just cause chaos, a denial of service, making the network unusable or super slow.
How would they isolate a node?
Imagine a peer-to-peer network. The attacker could surround your node with their Sybil nodes, so all the connections your node sees are fake ones controlled by the attacker. It can't talk to other honest nodes. Its view of the network is completely controlled.
Wow. That undermines the whole distributed trust idea.
Absolutely. It manipulates the perception of who's participating to gain unfair influence. It's not breaking encryption. It's social engineering the network structure itself.
So how do networks fight this?
Often with identity systems, or making it expensive to create lots of identities, like requiring users to stake coins or provide some proof of unique resources. Makes it costly to be overwhelmingly fake. 3, third-party and ecosystem vulnerabilities.
Okay, so we've hit user attacks, network attacks. What about the tools we use to interact with the blockchain? This feels really relevant day to day. Let's talk about blockchain endpoint vulnerabilities. This is where maybe the blockchain itself is solid.
Right, the core protocol is secure.
But the doors and windows we use to access it, maybe not so much.
Exactly. It's that fortress analogy again. Impenetrable walls, but a flimsy gate made by someone else, or a back door left unlocked.
Yeah. The source points out many third-party vendors facilitate blockchain transactions, like payment platforms, processors, even smart contracts themselves in a way. And critically, these vendors can increase vulnerability to hacking due to weaker security in apps and websites.
And this raises a really important question, right? Does trusting a third party basically undo the security promise of blockchain?
Seems like it could.
It absolutely can, and often does. It's the classic weakest link problem, sometimes called a supply chain attack in cybersecurity. Even if the underlying blockchain is perfect, impenetrable, if the app you use, the website, the exchange, the wallet interface, if that has bad security practices, it creates a bypass, a way in for attackers.
What kind of bad practices?
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
Weak logins, easy passwords, no 2FA, insecure APIs. Those are the digital connectors that let software talk to each other if they're leaky.
Data can get out or commands can get in.
Precisely. Or just plain old bugs. Logical flaws in the website code. If an attacker exploits those, they can get into your account on that platform, and from there access your blockchain assets or data, often without ever touching the blockchain directly.
And smart contracts, you mentioned them too. They live on the blockchain, don't they?
They do, but they often need to interact with the outside world. They might need external data feeds, we call those oracles, or they might trigger actions off-chain. Those connection points, those endpoints, they become critical vulnerabilities if they're not secured and checked meticulously.
So for us as users, the takeaway is
choose reputable services. Make sure they take security seriously. Look for things like multi-factor authentication, evidence of regular security audits, because your assets are only as secure as the least secure link in that whole chain of interaction. 4, user and key management vulnerabilities.
that weakest link idea. It brings us back to the user, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How we manage things. So let's talk about transaction privacy leakage. What does this mean for me, the user? Blockchain is transparent, right? Powerful for audits, verification.
Yep, a public ledger.
But that also means if you're not careful, your whole financial history could be out there for anyone to see.
It's traceable. The source says user behaviors are traceable on blockchain networks.
It also says systems must safeguard transaction privacy. But the solution it offers is telling. Basically, users must assign a private key for every transaction.
Or rather, a new public address for every transaction. Each new public address comes from your main wallet, but helps obscure the link.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. But still, it highlights that tension. Transparency versus privacy. It's a double-edged sword.
It really is. It's fascinating, that balance. Public chains offer pseudonymity. Your real name isn't usually tied directly to your wallet address.
Usually.
Right. But patterns emerge fast. If you use the same public address for everything, receiving payments, sending funds, interacting with dApps, it becomes this transparent public record of everything you do financially on that chain.
And people can analyze that.
Oh, absolutely. Sophisticated blockchain forensics, data analysis.
Yeah.
They can piece things together. Sometimes they combine on-chain data with off-chain info, like from exchanges where you did KYC, know your customer checks.
And suddenly your anonymous address isn't so anonymous.
Exactly. They can potentially link it back to your real-world identity, exposing financial details, maybe net worth, who you transact with.
That could be risky.
Very. In extreme cases, maybe even physical location, if transactions are tied to specific services. So that recommendation. Using a fresh public address for each incoming transaction, or significant ones.
That's the mitigation.
It's a direct and powerful one. It breaks those traceable links, makes it much, much harder for observers to connect the dots back to a single person or entity.
Enhances anonymity.
Significantly. But
Right.
it puts the burden on you, the user, to manage all those addresses and keys properly, which, as we're about to see, is its own challenge.
Right. Which leads us perfectly to the next point, maybe the most direct threat to your actual funds, stolen private keys. This feels like the ultimate user vulnerability, your private key. It's not just a password.
No, it's far more fundamental.
It is your ownership, your digital identity on that chain. The source notes grimly, stolen private keys or personal digital signatures have caused a loss of funds in some cases.
Understatement of the year in some cases.
Right. And it warns, keeping keys in an easy-to-access place, like in public repositories, is a risky habit. Risky feels mild.
It's catastrophic, like leaving bearer bonds scattered on your desk.
Yeah. So let's clarify that difference again. Password versus private key. Why is it so critical?
It's fundamental. A password usually gets you access to an account or service, often managed by a central company. There are usually recovery options, password resets, security questions, maybe 2FA.
Safety nets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A private key, though. It is the cryptographic proof of ownership for your assets on the blockchain. It's the unique code that lets you sign, authorize any transaction from its linked public address.
So if someone else gets it.
They are you on the blockchain, full stop. They can sign transactions, drain your wallet, and because of blockchain's design, immutable, decentralized.
No takebacks.
No takebacks, no forgot my key button, no central authority to reverse it. Once those funds are moved using a stolen key, they're gone, almost certainly forever. No recourse.
Wow. Okay. That hammers home why secure storage is so vital.
Absolutely vital. We talk about cold storage, keeping keys offline.
Like hardware wallets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dedicated physical devices, or even paper wallets, printing the keys and storing them securely offline, like in a safe.
Away from the internet.
Completely disconnected. That's the opposite of the risky habit. The source mentions storing keys on public cloud drives, in email, taking screenshots, leaving them on a hot wallet that's constantly online.
Hot wallets are convenient, though, for small amount.
They are for small, frequent transactions. But any significant holdings, they need to be in cold storage, period. It's like carrying cash versus a bank account. Direct key access means direct, irreversible theft.
That distinction is crystal clear. Private key security is just non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. V-code and human factor vulnerabilities.
Okay, let's shift again. Back to something more fundamental to the tech itself. Something that should be a strength, but often becomes a weakness. The code. Specifically, vulnerable smart contracts. Let's unpack this. The source is blunt. Code exploitation has been the primary culprit in creating vulnerabilities of blockchains in the past years.
It's where a lot of the big money losses have happened.
And the warning is chilling. If your code has weaknesses, expert hackers will find them and rob you in seconds. Seconds.
Literally seconds sometimes.
So smart contracts, they're code on the blockchain, meant to execute automatically, perfectly, immutable.
Right, automating agreements, trustless execution.
But if that code is flawed before it goes on the chain, that flaw becomes permanent, like a typo etched in stone.
Precisely. And that's why smart contract vulnerabilities are such a primary culprit for huge losses. These are self-executing programs. They often control massive amounts of value, millions, sometimes billions of dollars in digital assets.
Just sitting there, controlled by code.
Exactly. So a single bug, a logical mistake, an oversight in the design, an error in how it's implemented, it can be catastrophic because, as you said, it's deployed on an immutable ledger. Once it's out there, you generally can't just patch it or change it.
Not easily.
Not without migrating everything to a whole new contract, which is complex, risky, expensive, sometimes impossible. So that immutability, which is great for trust, becomes a critical weakness if the code itself is bad.
And attackers find these flaws.
And exploit them repeatedly, incredibly quickly, leading to massive rapid losses, literally in seconds.
We've seen examples, right? Big ones.
Oh, yeah. The DAO hack back in 2016 is the classic example. A bug called a recursive call vulnerability was exploited. Millions in Ether stolen. It actually led to a controversial hard fork, splitting the Ethereum blockchain.
I remember that. And there were others.
The parity multi-signature wallet issues, too. Coding errors led to hundreds of millions of dollars being frozen or stolen.
And these weren't hacks of the blockchain itself.
No. They were hacks of the smart contract code running on the blockchain. A crucial distinction.
So what's the defense? Audit.
Rigorous auditing is absolutely key. Formal verification using math to prove code correctness is becoming more common. Extensive testing, multiple stages. It's absolutely vital before any smart contract handling real value goes live on a public chain.
So for developers, it means investing heavily in security. And for users,
it means understanding that decentralized doesn't automatically equal secure. You need to carefully vet the contracts you interact with. Look for audit reports. Understand the risks.
Right. Human error in coding. Still a huge factor. And speaking of the human element, let's look at another angle. Hacking employee systems. This one's interesting. It reminds us that no matter how fancy the tech, it's only as strong as the people using it and the systems around it.
The whole ecosystem matters.
Right. All the amazing blockchain tech can't save you if someone's laptop in their home office gets compromised. Or they click a bad link. The source gives a real example. Bithumb, the exchange. Hackers got data for 30,000 users, stole Bitcoin worth nearly $900,000.
A significant breach.
And the key insight, the really telling part. Interestingly, the core servers were intact. And a compromised employee computer was the primary culprit. The main fortress held, but they got in through a side door.
That connects perfectly to the bigger picture. It's a classic example of the security perimeter being much wider than just the core tech. Even super secure core infrastructure, the exchange's main servers, the blockchain project servers, can be completely bypassed by hitting a weaker link in the wider organization.
Like an employee's machine.
Exactly. Sometimes called a supply chain attack or a side channel attack. That compromised device becomes a gateway. Attackers might get internal system access, network logins, maybe private keys stored locally on that machine, or even direct control over user accounts on the exchange.
How do they compromise the employee's computer? Phishing again.
Often, yeah. Targeted phishing, malware hidden in fake software updates, exploiting software bugs on the workstation that haven't been patched, sophisticated social engineering.
So the Bithumb case really shows the human factor and the security of all connected systems are just as vital as the blockchain's own security.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder. You need strong employee cybersecurity habits, good training, definitely multi-factor authentication everywhere. Many organizations are moving to a zero-trust model, basically. Verify everything. Don't automatically trust anyone or any device, even inside the network.
Makes sense. Don't assume safety.
Because a single weak point, like one employee's computer, can lead to devastating breaches. Thousands of users affected, millions lost, even if the core servers, the blockchain itself, remain untouched.
So security has to be holistic. People, process, tech.
The whole package, not just the blockchain code.
Okay, final vulnerability. Let's bring it right back to the absolute core. The cryptographic heartbeat of blockchain. Public key cryptography. We're talking about public key security attacks. What does this mean? If the very foundation is shaky,
the whole building is at risk.
The source says public key cryptography is at the core of blockchain technology. Makes sense. Therefore, improper implementation or handling of public key cryptography can cause some serious blockchain security issues. If the heart beats off, the system's in trouble.
And this raises that deeply important question about the bedrock. Public key crypto is everything. It enables secure transactions, it verifies who you are digitally, it builds trust in a decentralized way without needing a middleman.
Right, I sent to your public address, only your private key can unlock it.
That's the magic. So improper implementation or handling, that could mean a few things. Maybe generating weak keys that are predictable, or could be guessed or brute forced by a powerful enough attacker. Or maybe flaws in the actual cryptographic algorithms used for digital signatures. If they're flawed, an attacker might be able to forge a signature, impersonate someone else.
That would be disastrous.
Utterly. Or maybe collisions where different inputs accidentally produce the same cryptographic output. That breaks the uniqueness needed for IDs or transactions. We also worry about side channel attacks, where information about the keys leaks out physically, like through power usage patterns of the chip doing the calculation or electromagnetic radiation.
Wow, that's getting deep.
It is. But any of these directly undermine the trust, the authenticity, the immutability that blockchain relies on. It's a critical point of failure if it's not handled with absolute precision following the best practices.
And crypto evolves, right? What's secure today might not be tomorrow.
Exactly, especially with things like quantum computing potentially on the horizon, which could break some current crypto. It means constant research, updating algorithms, sticking religiously to the latest security standards in every single blockchain implementation, from line one of the code.
It's a continuous race, then, keeping the cryptographic foundation solid.
A continuous dynamic challenge, absolutely. Synthesis and conclusion on blockchain security.
Wow. Okay. So we've dug into 10 different vulnerabilities. Phishing, network tricks, 51% attacks, Sybil floods, weak third-party apps, privacy leaks, stolen keys, bad smart contract code, employee hacks, and even issues with the core cryptography. It really becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? Blockchain security isn't just about the network protocol.
Not at all.
It's every single layer, every interaction, the code itself, the person at the keyboard, the employee systems, the crypto underneath, everything. That overarching message from the source really hits home. A blockchain is as secure as its underlying code.
Exactly. And that phrase, underlying code, it's not just about smart contracts, so they're critical. It applies broadly. The crypto primitives, the network rules, the apps built on top of it.
Yeah.
All it. It means you can't just rely on the idea of blockchain security without looking closely at the specifics. How was this particular chain or app built? What are the security practices? Who audited it?
So thorough testing, audits, reviews, they're not just nice to haves.
They're absolutely essential, non-negotiable before anything handling real value goes public. Every line of code, every connection point, every person involved, potential vulnerability needs mitigation.
And that other point that really stuck with me. As the financial value of your blockchain increases, so does the attacks on it. It's such a stark, simple reality. Bigger prize, bigger threats, more sophisticated attackers, more relentless attempts.
It's basic security economics, really. Applies everywhere, not just blockchain. High value attracts high-level threats. So you can't just audit once and forget it. You need constant vigilance, proactive threat monitoring, adapting your security as the threats evolve.
It's an ongoing race.
It truly is. A race between the builders and defenders and those looking for exploits. The threat landscape is always changing. Security has to be dynamic.
Well, this deep dive certainly shows that while blockchain has incredible potential, groundbreaking tech, it also comes with this unique, complex set of challenges. Some feel familiar from traditional cybersecurity, but maybe amplified by the nature of blockchain immutable, decentralized, often no central safety net. So for you listening, what stands out after hearing about these 10 vulnerabilities? What are you going to pay more attention to now when you interact with this tech or even just read the news about the latest crypto hack?
And maybe consider this. In a world that's leaning more and more on decentralized systems, digital assets, real security isn't just in the fancy math or the algorithms. It's really in our collective understanding, our constant vigilance, our ability to adapt quickly to new threats. What if the next huge breach isn't some super complex crypto hack we've never seen? What if it's something surprisingly simple? A missed software update, a basic mistake managing keys, a forgotten backdoor in a third-party app.
The weakest link.
Exactly. The strength of the whole chain relies on its weakest link, and often that link is simpler, more human than we might think.
Absolutely, and that's what we try to do here at the Deep Dive. Cut through the noise, give you those crucial insights, help you be truly informed, ready to navigate this complex digital world. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into blockchain security vulnerabilities. We really hope you'll take this knowledge, apply it, stay vigilant, and keep exploring this fascinating tech landscape with us. Until next time, keep digging, keep questioning, and keep learning.